Hi everybody. This is going to be one of those lives that I know that I'm going to probably regret because, well, hopefully not regret, but just getting really real here. But it is Motivation Monday. We just got back from our family trip. I know some people will be going, I can't believe you went with your family on a family trip. And so I that was one of the things that we thought about, we talked about, because it was only our children, and if they had a spouse or, significant other came. And I think that was really hard for me because I thought, like, what are people going to think? Are they going to think I'm going out being not careful, being with my own kids and my grandkids? And then I thought, well, you know what? Like, let's be honest. COVID-19 is making everybody judge people. You're wrong for this, you're wrong for that. And mentally, I'm so thankful that I went. My team, my husband, everybody made me actually not work the whole time we were there. And so you guys, I haven't looked at an email in 5 days. I didn't do the newsletter. Even yesterday when I came home, when we got home last night, I didn't do that. And you guys, sometimes you have to do that. And I think you have to give yourself permission to say, hey, I need a break. And for those that were like, oh, you shouldn't have went to Island Park, you guys, I have people like, I don't leave my house. And I've been there, like, even now, like, so Brian went to his yearly appointment today. I don't know, he's very open about it, but Brian has Graves' disease. I don't know if you know what that is. If you don't, it is something that Brian lives with and takes medication for every day. And so he's very diligent about doing things that he needs to do. And so he had that doctor's appointment and then he'll be back. But because my event here in Park City is in 3 weeks, we knew that our family trip gave us 3 weeks to be home, to be completely away from other people too. So we always want to be mindful of that because we are also doing my event virtually. And this is a first, so that's going to be really cool. And, hoping for the best for that. So I'm not hoping because I know it's going to be the best, because I think anytime you're passionate and you put your heart into something, it's going to be good. And I really feel like that's really important. But really what I think I wanted to get on here for is to talk about something that I learned on my family vacation that I've always known, but that we used: the power of your words. So I just really felt strongly to tell you that Brian and I normally on a family vacation, there's always usually at one point where he's annoyed with me or I'm annoyed with him. And your tension's high. We were blending our family. You guys, nothing happened this trip. And I really thought about it. And I thought, I'm going to get on here and share this with you. I know this isn't my typical, I'm not doing a DIY, but I wanted to share with you how we got there. And it wasn't, we decided before going into a family, so we have between us and the spouses, we are a family of 20, we had a family of 26 at this place, right? Now, we were in isolation. This cabin it was awesome. There was nobody around us. We were on the lake at this wonderful house in Island Park. And what I loved about it too was, like I said, we did all drive in for a few hours one day to Yellowstone. We decided, because of the kids, some of the kids didn't even go. But before we went, we decided to have a plan. And we had a plan also, what if that plan didn't work? And so Brian and I went into it and we said, okay, hey, there's a lot of kids, our kids coming here. How can we make sure that we make it a really good family vacation, and that we're, one, not cleaning up after everybody, cooking after everybody, after we've provided, this place for us to connect. And so we did. We So my girls are kind of planners too. So we planned out the menus. We planned out the activities. We planned, and I really want to encourage you to have a plan. Now, I know that sounds crazy, and you're like, okay, because a lot of people don't like plans on vacations and they want to wing it. And that's okay too. But I think when you have like 26 people, like we do, we knew that like we needed to have a plan. You're going, well, wait a minute. Okay, so of course we didn't have we said, okay, we're going to play Where's Waldo? And that was Brian's son was going, and he was pretending he was Waldo. He got an outfit off of Amazon. It was great. And if you found Waldo, you got a treat. We did tie-dye. If you've never done tie-dye, I'm going to do a tutorial on tie-dye, because you're going to go, oh, that's lame. My family wouldn't want to do that. Everybody from our littlest to, well, Brian and I were the oldest, but we loved it. And we all had tie-dye shirts. They were all different, and you can tie-dye anything. And so I just want you to know that thank you guys. I'm reading what you're saying. And so Where's Waldo was fun. The tie-dye was fun. My kids were making friendship bracelets. And that was fun. And they were teaching each other how to do it. McKay had those. They were playing board games that they liked. We played a Jeopardy game that McKay made the Jeopardy game up, and even had the whole presentation of it. It was awesome. That was the only time when we kind of got a couple people that were, more competitive. Haha, that was funny. And so I was like, okay, just a game, because obviously that's how it is. But one thing that I will tell you that Brian and I did is we had we divided up the family, whoever cleaned had to clean up. That way, think about it. If you're making the mess, or you're making it and you go, well, I have to clean this, so I'm going to be diligent, and I'm probably going to clean as I go. It worked out perfectly, you guys. So from start to finish, that one meal of the whole trip. But here's what I found. I had certain kids that they would come and help even when it wasn't their time. And that was a testament to me, to, just the nature of so many of our kids. And I really appreciate that. But Brian and I had decided before, if one of our children I'm not going to say, but let's say, I'm not even going to say name because I don't want to call out one of my kids, but if, let's say one of my kids hadn't cleaned out, I would have said, hey, you need to go do that. But we didn't have that. We didn't need to. So McKay made a video, and so I'm going to post it on if you follow me on my private Teresa Collins Weber Facebook page, I'm going to post that. It made me cry this morning. She already got it done. She's amazing. That's why I don't care. I've not had a lick of makeup on in days now. I don't care. I think it's good to just really feel like you can be yourself. And, but I will say there was one situation that happened there's a couple, and that I just privately, said something and said, hey, as a mother, I think sometimes it's hard to do that still in a very loving way. Say, hey, whatever, it's okay to be able to speak your mind in a loving and kind way, and go, oh, okay, I just don't know if this was, and that's how you do it. Our family's not perfect, you guys. But I will tell you, one of the things that I really feel is communication is the key. And we're still working on it, especially because we have new people coming into our family. I often get people saying, well, why wasn't, of course you guys know why Seth wasn't there. They have a new baby. They can't have, so Elsie is going to have heart surgery in December, you guys. So my bonus son, Seth, and Ellie wanted to be there with us. To be honest, the house that we were even at, if you saw some of the videos, we didn't have enough. We would need to get a whole nother house. So we don't know how much longer we're going to be able to do this with anybody really, with this many people, because we have so many people. And we had, luckily Taylor and her whole family were in one room. So, but what I want to say is there's always people, trust me, that are like, well, why wasn't so-and-so here? And, oh, you don't post about this person. And, and it makes me sad, because I feel like, one, I think everybody should just really focus on your own, your own life and your own family, and work on those connections. But I promise you that, like, we are not perfect, but we try. And obviously every single person was invited, in all of my kids, my bonus children, Brian's, and we worked hard to get everyone there. Kayla and Matt, you may have heard, they just announced that they are having a baby, and it was a big surprise. They did not plan on having more babies, and so that wasn't my story to share. And so I knew, and she posted it yesterday, and so I'll share. And so I get people from behind the scenes, why don't you post about this? Or someone made a comment on they did delete it, but someone made a comment on one of my social media posts, like, you never post about, Matt and Kayla's kids. And I just want you to know that, like, it's always hard, because the communication is a two-way street. And I always tell my kids, and one thing that, I want to say to you, if you have kids or grandkids, you know how hard it is getting photos. And I always have to say, send me photos. Oh, I love that photo of Ezra. Send it to me. But I think because people, maybe, they like looking at your family or whatever, I think it's interesting that I always get a lot of people that are like, oh, well, Ezra must be the favorite, or da 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 da, and you guys, they're all my favorite. When my kids, the big joke, like literally at the cabin yesterday, we were all leaving, and I went down and I was whispering to all the grandkids as we left. We said a prayer to get home in safety, and I was like, you're my favorite, because they are. And I whisper in their ears and I go, you are my favorite. I love you more than life. But they are my favorite. And even my kids, I'm like, and so I think that is something, like, each of my kids behind their back, they all go, I know, you're my favorite. It used to get to me more, because I used to think, like, oh my gosh, does it look like I'm favoring somebody? And obviously when there's, a situation where, and also you have to understand, there is the reality is, and I'm just going to be real here, is you have to look at it too, that Matt is 35, 36 now. He was born in 85. What would that be? I don't know. 35. So, and we don't really see them a lot. Matt's mom is very much so still alive and there. And I love his children. I love them, but we just don't see them a lot. And it's one of those things, I feel like, when people want to go like, oh, well, and trust me, I mean, I would love to be able to see all, everyone even more. That's just who I am. So it is kind of hard, like, for me, when people, and I'm sure, like, oh, well, you don't, whatever. And the one thing I also feel like is, I feel like I'm trying to find the balance of materialistic gifts. This is me just being really real with you guys. We have an exceedingly large family. And for me, I am a giver, but also I feel like sometimes there's the pressure of, so for me, quality time is what I'm going for now. And obviously it's easier for me to drive down to see all of my kids are here within 45 minutes of where I live, except for Seth, who now he's in St. George, which I'll plan a trip. But also I'm going to be very careful, because Elsie, like I said, we don't want to give Elsie anything. So I wouldn't go see Elsie right now. I would make sure I've been home for at least 2 weeks from a family trip, because just to be safe and precautious. And I'm doing the same thing, because I'm doing an event in Park City. I will, Brian and I are home. We will be home, because we're definitely mindful that, you never know, and that we are wearing masks. We are doing everything we can. And obviously we worry about other people that we come in contact with. And so, but going back to gift giving and stuff, like, I grew up with my mom's love language was, what did you buy for me? And she would give me gifts, you guys. I mean, she would give me list of things she wanted me to buy for her. I'm not even kidding. And I was like married, or I was in high school. And that was just, I think, because she never had anything. And so, so that's kind of hard. And so one of the things that I just want you to know that like is, you know, that balance of what you show and exactly. I did have, at one time, I had one of my children who had a baby who requested that I not show photos, but then that was different, and now it's fine. This was the perfect vacation. If you're looking for a family vacation, this was by far my favorite vacation we've ever done. And we've always done things like Disneyland. And I will tell you, every time we've done Disneyland as a family, every time we've had a fight. Someone has gotten a fight. Someone's like, you know, frustrated, or, oh, I didn't want to do that, or, oh, they're, you know, and I'm just being honest with you, because Disneyland is, you get tired, and I love Disneyland, but taking the whole family there, everyone there, somebody's always left out, fight. This was like the perfect vacation. And we went into it saying, hey, not everyone, they had pull-out beds, they had air mattresses. We did, everybody had a bed, don't worry, they didn't sleep on the floor. But we, one of the things that we do is if you have a baby, and we were lucky that like the babies obviously had a bedroom, so we had enough bedrooms for our children that had babies, and you know, that makes sense. And so it was good, you guys. You know, I'm just proud of Brian, you guys. Brian went from, you know, 4 children, and now he has one son that's married, Maddie that's getting married. COVID kind of, you know, pushed the wedding back a little bit. And we are a very big, beautiful, blended family. And we are, one of the things that I love about our family is when we get in you can imagine there's a lot of opinions, and we're not afraid to talk about those things, but we're also very mindful of people's opinion. Like it, you know, like, hey, I don't like the president. Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, we talk about important issues. We do. I talk about important issues with all of my kids, and but also I feel like we need to make sure that we are not being insensitive. So one of the things that I'm really proud of my kids about is the way that you joke and talk about people, and we have to be more mindful of how the things you're saying, because I will tell you, like, you know, obviously we have Mauro, who's from Mexico, and Jermaine, who's from Uganda. And I'm sure I've had people, I literally had someone, not kidding, they said, are you, should I share this? Okay, I'm going to share it. I said, I had people messaging me, are you okay that your daughter is going to marry a Mexican? I can't believe I shared that. And I was taken back, you guys, because I just am not racist in any way. And I didn't want McKay to know, but McKay knew. Like, she's had people say the craziest things to her. Or are you afraid that when they have kids that they will be made fun of? Or, you know, and McKay's had situations where people, they've looked at her last name and they're like, what? Or now that she has Ezra, they look at Ezra, and McKay's very, very white, and they've either said things or looked at her, and really? So I'm going to do everything I can in my power to educate and to continue to spread that we have to be more mindful of the things that we say, because sometimes, or the things that people say around us, and it happens, and to stand up and say, we don't say things like that, you know, and so I admonish you, if you have someone in your life, in a very respectful way, to say, hey, that's not, they're a human being. The other thing that we heard is, obviously, if you watch our personal family, you know that Brian's daughter Maddie for 7 years has been with Jermaine, and he is from Uganda. He is he was on here. He came to the United States when he was probably, I think, 12 as a refugee, and he is here, and they're getting married. And that was another thing that people were like, they would message me and they would go, "Who is that black person in your photos?" And I was just, I see color. Obviously, I see color, but I don't judge color. Like, obviously I know that he's black, but I guess I just didn't think that people would wonder why, or, you know, and I've had people, I can't stand it when I hear people saying negative things about people based upon the color of their skin, their race. And you guys, I'm the first one that I will say, like, "What did you say?" Like, in a very nice way. I'm not confrontational, but I also will, you know, definitely say something if I feel like you're saying something insensitive, because I feel like in this world, that's why people keep saying those things. And if you say in a nice way, say, "Oh, why would you say that?" You know, so I don't go and attack people, because I don't believe attacking people and all of those things. You know, I'm just like, and I'm so grateful, you know, and I will tell you, I am so blessed that for my family, and including Jermaine and Mauro, and I couldn't even tell you how wonderful. I'm all the time, poor Jermaine is probably tired of me giving him business advice, because he works for Goldman Sachs it's a kind of new job for him that he wants to work his way up. And by the way, he wants to do a live with me. Would you guys like that? Jermaine wants to do a live, and you know, and we were going to do it, and we canceled it because we were doing it right when everything was going on with Black Lives Matter. And the reason why I canceled it, just to be honest with you, was I did not want people think that I was having him on and talking about him doing his entrepreneur stuff, because I didn't want people to go like, "Oh, she's only doing this because he's black." And I was like, no, I want to do it. I want to do it because I love Jermaine. And guess what, you guys? Jermaine happens to be black. But he's got some really awesome things, and he's driven, and I want to help him. And I knew that if I introduced him to you guys, that you would probably want to support his efforts. But I also didn't want people to support him because of the wrong reasons. I want people to support him because he has great products. He's doing great things on the side, and he's a hustler, and he's doing fun stuff. And so I'm still going to do that. I just didn't want, you know, because people will say that. People will, you know, really, who cares? At the end of the day, you have to follow your heart. Jermaine's very talented, and I love bringing my family in, and I love showing what they're doing. I love seeing what you're doing. I think that's what we need to do. And Jermaine was the first one, you know, has been one of the first ones that has, you know, educated me about things. That the first time he came to this house, you guys, and I was taken back by what he said. I was like, "What?" So he walked into the house. We had barely moved into our house. He walked in the house, and he goes, he said something to the effect like, "Don't shoot. I'm supposed to be here," or "Don't shoot me," or something. And I literally was in the kitchen, and my hair is driving me crazy. You guys, literally, did you know that you can use this? I'm going to. Don't even, oh, it worked. I just needed my hair off my face. And he said to me, I took him aside because, you guys, I was kind of like, "Why did you say that?" And I go, and he was laughing when he said it, you guys. He goes, "Ha ha ha, don't shoot." And I'm like, "Jermaine, what?" And he literally said to me, he goes, "I'm a black man in this neighborhood." And I was like, and he goes, "Teresa, I don't belong here." And I was like, "Jermaine, you do belong here." He goes, "Just trust me." And it was very eye-opening to me. And again, that was 5 years ago. So those are kind of things that, like, as a family, that for over 5 years, that, you know, I really feel like sometimes I'm not trying to pound it to anybody's situation. Like, we live in Utah, you guys. Like, I live in Utah now. I grew up in North Carolina. And so for me, I grew up being I decided, at a young age myself, not because my mom and dad were very racist, to be honest with you. And I just decided myself, I was like, I don't get this. Like, why? I don't get why you think this person is different because they're a different color than you are. And so it was really hard. And I'm just grateful. Sometimes I'm grateful I raised myself, to be honest. I'm grateful that I had to figure it out because I just followed my heart and I believed in God. If you don't, that's okay. But I believed in God and I thought, well, wait a minute. If we're all God's children, explain this to me. Why is somebody else better than somebody else? Why are we going to treat somebody differently because they don't? So there's certain... Oh gosh, did you guys ever see the movie The Help? Is it The Help? Oh gosh, I was crying. I just can't even relate to that. I can't relate to the way people treat people. And I'm not even just saying, I mean, it could be a white person treating a white person bad. I'm just saying in general, I'm such an empath. It's like, please, no, what are you doing? Why are you treating people differently? And so, so that's where I stand. And I just feel like communication and being kind and using your voice. And you may go, oh, I can't do anything. I can't make a change. Well, I tell you the smallest things. Masks are hard right now because obviously with smiling and different things. But I will tell you, one of the things that I firmly, firmly believe in is change begins with you. And it is the way that you, like for me, obviously we're not really going places and shopping and doing the things we normally do. But when I did, I always was the first one to smile and say hello and to be kind to not just you because you're white or because you're whatever. I'm kind to everybody. And I go out of my way to say, hello. And I've had people look at me like I'm crazy. Because from the South, you say hello to everybody. And I grew up in that culture like, hey, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Out West, not so much. And if you live out West, you understand. It's more like, it's a different way than I feel like the South is. And if I'm wrong, that's just my experience. My experience has been in the South. You talk to everybody in the grocery store. You're like, hey, what you doing? How you doing? Where you live? Da, 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 da. But out West, it's a little different. And I remember moving here and I was like, people don't just talk to people. People don't just it's kind of like do your own thing. And so I said, don't let this change you. And you may think that's kind of crazy because I love out West. I think people out West are great. It's just the way you've been raised. So I decided, okay, I'm still going to be my TERESA Collins from Hickory, North Carolina. And when I see you, I'm going to say, how are you? I think my event next month is going to be really hard because I'm not going to hug and do the things I normally do. I'm going to social distance. The people that are there, we are able to safely put people like 6 feet apart, wearing masks the whole time. And obviously it's going to be very different, but I am so just thankful they're there. And I know that everyone will feel my spirit from being there. And the projects that we're doing are amazing. The people that are going to be there virtually. We have people from around the world virtually coming to the event, meaning they can watch it, with us, take all the workshops, and so, oh, by the way, that reminds me, if you are a virtual person, almost every teacher pretty much that I know will be able to have links and that you can later, hopefully, buy kits because we sold out. We have no kits available, but teachers will have them available. So if you're taking it virtually and you're like, I really wish I could get Teresa's kit. I really wish I could get Ken's or Margie's or Irene with Simply Gilded, you'll be able to. I just wanted to share a little bit of Motivational Monday early today. I did not plan to share any of these things that I shared. I don't know why I shared them. I just felt it. A lot of it is probably nervous energy, seeing Spencer leave. I didn't expect to cry. If you know, Spencer came to live with us when he was 16, and it was probably the hardest thing, blending, and I didn't know how to. I didn't ever feel I could discipline him, and not that but yeah, we needed to. And after we started really communicating, I truly am his, love him. And I loved him before, but we grew so close. And so him going to college today I'm so proud of him. He's 20 years old, and I'm just grateful for him. And it just shows you that, like, going through the hard just actually makes everything better if you will choose to grow from those experiences. Love you guys. Bye.